One morning, I turned my key to the ignition on position and I was greeted with all of these faults. If you're getting the same errors with your Mark 7 Golf, stay tuned because I might be able to help. And just in case you're trying to determine if you have the same fault with your Mark 7 Golf, this is a list of the errors I got in sequence. So first of all, we have error stabilisation control ESC. Next, we have error ACC. Next, error stabilisation control ESC again. Error auto hold. Proactive passenger protection not available. Error tyre pressure monitoring system. And lastly, fault electric parking brake. And what I found is, if I left the car to sit with the ignition in the on position, after about 10 to 20 minutes, all of these errors clear and the car starts, and then I can drive it. And the issue would only recur when the car was cold again. The two things I initially tried to fix this fault were: number one, I replaced the car battery. This did not resolve the problem. Secondly, searching online, I found a lot of people were referencing that there may be an issue with the ABS wheel sensors. I checked all of these and there was no issue with these either. At this point, I had to run a diagnostic on the Golf to see what errors it was giving me. So I borrowed a laptop with a copy of ECDS from a mechanic friend of mine, and one cold morning when I was experiencing all of these faults, I plugged into the ODB2 port, which on my Golf is just below the steering wheel down to the right under the dash. It's the purple connector in there, and when I connected to it, I got the following errors. With my VCDS laptop connected to the ODB2 port of my Volkswagen Golf, I got the following errors when I tried to run the software. So on the top line you can see here 01 engine, status cannot be reached, and all of the other modules below it are malfunction 0010. At the bottom here we have address 01 engine cannot be reached. So obviously the next troubleshooting step was to lift the bonnet and confirm that the car did still have an engine. Seriously though, I searched online and a lot of people who were getting this similar error were pointing to the fact that there may be a communication issue between the ODB2 and the engine control unit, the ECU. So having read around the topic for a few days, I decided it would be a good idea to try and get a wiring diagram and work out if the correct voltage was going down to the ECU. Because what it seemed to me was happening was that when the car was cold, some dodgy contact or connection or component was preventing the ECU getting the correct input voltages. The diagram I have on screen here is my simplified wiring diagram for how the power gets to the ECU. So let's take a look at it. First of all, we have battery voltage here. So that comes down this wire through this fuse down onto one side of the coil of relay J317. The other side of that coil goes to pin 69 of the ECU, which I assume must be some sort of ground. Now when this coil is energized, it pulls this contact into position to create a path from our positive voltage down to all of these circuits here, and each one, as you can see, has its own fuse. Now the first one of these circuits, SB3, comes down and splits into 3 wires that comes down to our ECU. Since these errors only appear when the car is cold, we can rule out any issue to do with a fuse. Because if a fuse was blown, the car would never start. It would never be rectified by a change in the ambient temperature. Next, I wanted to focus on relay J317. So as we saw earlier, when we have power going through this coil, it generates a magnetic field that pulls these contacts in together and allows the voltage come down from the battery to all of these other circuits. But as with any mechanical switch, after thousands and thousands of openings and closings of these contacts, the connection quality just isn't that good anymore, and it can lead to intermittent failures. Now, since this issue only happened when the car was cold, it didn't afford me the opportunity to troubleshoot it later on in the day, because when the car heats up, the error goes away. However, I thought we might be able to recreate the issue. If the error was with the relay, I should be able to recreate all of those same errors by simply pulling out the relay. It's late afternoon, the temperature outside is pretty warm. So before pulling out the relay, I'm just going to show the car starting as normal. So no errors. So let's pull out the relay and see what happens. So this is the fuse box under the hood. This 645 is our ECU relay. So I'm going to pull that out completely. So if my hypothesis is correct, if we turn the car on now, we should get all of those same errors. When I turn it to the on position, we get all of the exact same errors. I was able to purchase a replacement relay at car parts that I'll put a link for the description down below. However, these are a generic relay and it should be available at your local motor factors. It's now 2 months since I bought that relay and put it into my car, and I haven't had those errors any morning since I put in the new relay. I spent quite a lot of time getting to the bottom of this fault, and I also bought a brand new battery that apparently I don't need now. But hopefully this video can help you get to the cause of the problem more quickly. Please like and subscribe if you found this useful, and I'll be back with some of my regular content next week.